Hello and welcome to the BIS Talks on Service Quality Management Systems as provided in IS 15700 Quality Management Systems. Requirements for service quality by public service organizations. As a nation bursting with potential, India yearns to establish itself as a global frontrunner in the public sector. But with such lofty aspirations comes the pressing need for foolproof systems that ensure optimal results, unparalleled service excellence, and unwavering customer satisfaction. Let's find out.
Every public service organization has a responsibility to provide efficient service to the public. Giving high-quality service is crucial for gaining and keeping the trust and satisfaction of the people. One challenge in doing this well is that service providers and receivers might have different ideas about what makes a service excellent, satisfactory, or just okay. This is where service norms come in. If there are clear and widely known norms, people using the services know what to expect and those providing the services know what they need to do. Sevottam is an important effort by the government to improve public services and empower citizens. It's all about aiming for excellence in how services are delivered to the public. Derived from the Sevottam principle, the Indian standard IS 15700 has been created as a generic standard specifying system requirements with a particular focus on service quality, on public grievance redressal, and citizen interface. The fundamental tenet of this standard is laying down and clearly communicating service norms in the form of a citizen charter, establishing and maintaining norms for grievance redressal, and taking necessary steps to ensure that the norms are known to the public and are consistently met. The adoption of IS 15700 by any organization providing services would result in the efficient, effective, and transparent delivery of services to the public, leading to increased customer satisfaction and an ongoing commitment to improving service provision.
Let us first look at what public service means and what are public service organizations.
Public service means service that affect the society at large. Public service organizations are all such organizations which are either directly providing service to society at large or provide services to those organizations which through their policies, directives, regulations and so on provide services to the society.
The fundamental aim of this standard is to determine the operations of public service organizations that frequently interact with the public. To achieve this, certain parameters such as proper documentation of services, citizen charters, and effective complaint redressal mechanisms are essential components of this standard. By incorporating these measures, organizations can establish a uniform and efficient service delivery mechanism benefiting the public at large. Public services can be broadly classified into two categories: basic service and need-based services. Basic services include necessities such as electricity supply, water supply, health care, education, and transportation systems. On the other hand, need-based services are availed of on a specific basis such as passport services, banking services, police services during a crime, income tax services, municipal services, judiciary services, land administration, etc. Postal services and telecommunication services can fall under both basic and need-based categories depending on the situation.
Let us understand the key elements of this system. how it is applied, its benefits, and how BIS is a torchbearer in implementing it for the organizations providing public service. Now let us understand the basic requirements of this standard.
Documentation requirement is one of the foundation requirements of this standard. While implementing this standard, the organization shall develop and maintain documentation to ensure effectiveness of its services and function. The extent of documentation could differ from one organization to another due to its complexity of its process and interaction, size of the organization, and competence of person. The Service Quality Management System documentation usually includes the following: Service Quality Manual, Citizen Charter, Documented Procedure, Work, Instructions, etc. External documents such as applicable legal requirements, acts, guidelines, etc. The organization also needs to establish and maintain a service quality manual that includes the scope of the service quality management systems, service quality policy, service quality objectives, complaints, handling objectives, personal responsibility, and authority within the standard scope, documented procedures, a description of service, processes, and other documents necessary for effective planning, operation, and control of its services. Similarly, the Control of Documents clause requires that all documents required by this standard or identified by the organization as essential for its service quality management systems be approved for adequacy before issue, reviewed periodically, updated as necessary, and reapproved. Any changes made must be identified and clearly stated, and documents must be legible and identifiable, indicating their current revision status.
Now let us understand another basic requirement of this standard: management responsibility. Let us hear from Officer of MSCD.
IS 15700 requires a deep involvement of top management for establishing, implementing, maintaining and continually improvement of a service quality management systems by establishing a service quality policy, working group for preparation of citizen charter, setting up quality objectives and complaint handling mechanism, along with conducting timely management review. Another critical aspect of this standard is customer focus, wherein top management ensures that the customer requirements are determined and met with the aim of enhancing customer satisfaction. Additionally, the standard requires the establishment of service quality objectives consistent with the service quality policy. These objectives should be measurable and documented and should take into account the internal and external context of the organization, the input of customers and other stakeholders, any relevant legal, statutory and regulatory requirements, and financial, operational and other organizational requirements. The establishment of a working group for the formulation and review of citizen charter is another crucial component of the standard. Top management should constitute this group, including representatives from top management, middle management, staff association and unions, customers and other stakeholders. The selection of team members should be done transparently and the details of which should be accessible to the public. Similarly, top management should appoint a nodal officer with responsibilities and authority that include ensuring the processes needed for the services, service delivery, citizen charter and complaint handling are established, implemented and maintained. Acting as member secretary of the working group for formulation and review of the citizen charters, reporting to top management of any complaints that have a significant impact on the organization, reporting to top management on the performance of the service quality management systems and the planning and organizing internal audits. Finally, the standard mandates that the top management should review the organization's management systems for service quality, citizen charter and complaint handling at planned interval to ensure their continuing suitability, adequacy, efficiency and effectiveness. This review should include assessing opportunities for improvement and the need for changes, including the service quality policy and objective. Record of management review should be maintained.
Resource management is also a very important parameter for success of quality in services. Resource management means deployment of organizations' resources in most efficient and an effective way, when and where they are needed. Let us understand these requirements for BIS officer.
Next comes the requirement for the organization to determine and provide resources for the effective implementation of management systems for service quality, citizens charter and complaints handling. The resources provided should include human resources, infrastructure and work environment. Another point to consider is that the organization must ensure that personnel are selected based on their capability to satisfy defined job specifications. Furthermore, the personnel must be trained to understand the tasks to be performed and the objectives to be achieved, including how they contribute to the achievement of objectives. The personnel must also be aware of their responsibilities, such as promptly reporting on the complaints, feedback that have significant impact on the organization. Additionally, they must be aware of the procedures to be followed and information to be given to customers. It is important to note that training records should be maintained. Moreover, organizations should ensure that personnel who are in direct contact with customers are available and accessible as specified. They should also be sensitized to treat customers in a courteous manner, respond promptly to customers' inquiries, complaints, provide accurate, updated and complete information and possess good interpersonal and communication skills. Lastly, the organization must determine, provide and maintain infrastructure and work environment necessary for effective service quality and complaints handling.
Therefore, there are some key elements of service quality management systems: citizen charter, service provision and complaints handling. Let us understand in details.
Citizens Charter. Citizens Charter is a written document declaring the intention and commitment of an organization for providing effective and efficient service, taking into account customers' expectations and minimum acceptable levels of service, thereby providing assurance that the organization complies with the declared service quality standards. The Citizens Charter shall contain a vision and mission statement, a list of services provided, measurable service norms, the public grievance officer's contact details, expectations from a customer, and description or reference to complaints handling processes. The Citizens Charter must be documented and represent a systematic effort to focus on providing excellent service. The Charter should be simple, easily understandable, and available in local languages as required. Furthermore, it must be non-discriminatory and periodically reviewed for continued suitability. The Charter should be updated whenever there are changes in the services offered, delivery mechanisms, service standards, or any other relevant input. Service provision documents the services provided by the organizations at different levels to meet the expectations of the customers and regulatory authorities. The organization shall ensure that services meet customer expectations and regulatory requirements, deliver services in accordance with service norms, quality policies, and objectives, ensure that purchased or outsourced products and services meet quality requirements, develop effective service level agreements and communication channels with other public service organizations, implement procedures and work instructions to ensure service delivery processes are carried out as designed, maintain suitable equipment and facilities that meet established standards, identify relevant verification activities in the service delivery processes and ensure that are carried out, protect and safeguard customer property and information, implement monitoring and measuring mechanism for service norms specified in the Citizens Charter, provide clear instructions to customers for effective service and delivery, ensure professional, honest and courteous behavior of service delivery personnel, review regulatory and policy changes for their impact or service delivery and provide timely information to customers, make provisions for emergency preparedness to ensure essential service levels during a crisis. Complaints handling. The organization must establish a documented procedure for handling complaints. Key steps in the process include identifying complaint-prone areas, setting time norms for redress, providing clear information on how to make a complaint, and widely publishing the processes. The procedure should also include the following: providing accessible information about the complaints handling processes, include where and how to make a complaint, what information is required, and the time limits for resolution. Recording and uniquely identifying each complaint, including relevant details about the complainant, requested remedy, due date of redress, and any immediate action taken. Prioritizing complaints based on their seriousness and severity and promptly acknowledging each complaint with a unique complaint number and expected redress time. Conducting an investigation of relevant circumstances and information relating to complaint commensurate with its seriousness. Communicating the decision to the complainant promptly and providing feedback mechanism to ensure that they are satisfied with the outcome. If the decision is not in line with the remedy requested, the justification for the decision and the alternative internal and external recourse available for appeal should also be provided. Establishing an appeals mechanism to handle complaints that are not resolved to the complainant's satisfaction. The appeals mechanism should ensure independence to ensure complete objectivity in handling the appeal.
Last but not the least, monitoring, measurement and improvement of service in paramount focus of this standard.
The organization shall monitor and measure the characteristics of the service and the service delivery processes and verify that the service quality objectives and norms have been met. This shall be carried out at all stages and locations where the organization has an interface with customers. Additionally, the organization shall evaluate the performance of the commitment made in the Citizens Charter and complaint handling procedure and report to the top management with recommendation for improvement. The working of the complaint handling machinery shall also be evaluated through random checks. Any information appearing in the media may be considered for suitable action. Similarly, the records of the verification of conformity shall also be maintained. The organization shall establish and implement a system for measuring customer satisfaction through a suitable methodology. This information shall be used to establish service norms, quality objectives, and for continual improvement. Next important aspect in this clause is internal audit. To determine whether the management systems for service quality conforms to the requirement of the standard and document established by the organization, internal audit shall be conducted at planned intervals. An audit plan shall be documented, indicating the scope, frequency of the audit, auditors, auditee, and the audit date or time. The objectives of the audit may include recommendations for further improvement. Selection of auditors and conduct of audit shall ensure objectivity and impartiality of the audit processes. It is important to note that the auditor shall not audit their own work. The auditee shall ensure that actions are taken without undue delay to eliminate detected non-conformity and their causes. Also, follow-up activities shall include the verification of the actions taken and reporting of verification results. Records of the audit shall be maintained. Then comes the analysis of data. Data collected during monitoring and measurement, including complaints received and customer satisfaction, shall be analyzed to determine the current level of performance and opportunities for continual improvement, particularly where non-conformities are recurring. The most important subclause in this standard is improvement. Corrective and preventive actions shall be taken to eliminate the causes of non-conformities and potential causes in order to prevent recurrence and occurrence respectively. These shall be appropriate to the effects of the non-conformity encountered and potential problems. Records of action taken and improvement effected shall be maintained.
Let's find out the process of certification for the service quality management systems from BIS.
Organization desirous of obtaining systems certification as per any management systems standard has to do the following. Implement the requirements of the standard in the context of the organization. Develop various type of documents like manual, if required, procedures, policy, objectives, targets, operational risks, etc. as required by the standard. Get the documents approved from authorized person and circulate to all departments and create awareness. Complete one cycle of internal audit of departments, including top management, and one cycle of management review to ascertain that standard is in place and giving required results. Then you make application to BIS on BIS portal. To submit your application, identify the regional office under whose jurisdiction the premises is located and contact the concerned management system coordinating officer. MSCOR will guide you about the process of application.
Now, after application, what is the process of grant of license?
The concerned regional office processes the application for grant of license. This includes audit of applicant in two stages named as Stage 1 and Stage 2 audits. These audits are carried out to gain sufficient evidence related to conformity to the management systems implemented by the organization. Now, what is Stage 1 audit? The purpose of Stage 1 audit is to assess the organization's preparedness for the Stage 2 audit. During Stage 1 audit, following things are verified: scope and boundary of the implemented management systems, type of services covered, processes involved, and relevant statutory and regulatory requirements. Then confirmation of the information submitted in the application. Then a review of the documented information of the implemented management systems, that is, documented processes and procedures, policies, etc. If any non-conformity is observed in Stage 1 visit, the same are communicated. After satisfactory actions are taken and communicated to MSCO with supportive evidence, Stage 2 audit is planned by Management System Certification Coordinator. Now, what is Stage 2 audit? The purpose of Stage 2 audit is to evaluate implementation, including effectiveness of the management system to be certified. Following activities are undertaken during Stage 2 audit. Information and evidence about conformity to all requirements of management systems under certification, performance monitoring, measuring, reporting and reviewing against performance objectives and targets, ability to meet statutory, regulatory and contractual requirement, operational control of the processes, etc. Audit of all departments as per schedule is carried out, relevant evidences are collected, verified. Any NC is observed, the same is discussed with auditee, system coordinator and communicated to the auditee for taking appropriate action within a time frame of 45 days as per BIS guidelines term. Once the audit activities are completed, DDG region takes decision to grant the license to the applicant. The license is granted for 3 years, during which there will be 2 surveillance audits conducted at an interval of 1 year. BIS follows a robust certification process utilizing competent and experienced auditors. Over the years, as the management system stabilizes, the organization can make use of this management system as a tool to improve the system.
Undoubtedly, BIS Management Service Certification Service provides confidence to the interested parties, ensures improvement of processes on a continuous basis, ensures objectivity, confidentiality and impartiality in the certification process.